A lot of people think Candace Owens is a liar. That's not true. What's true is that Candace Owens lives in an alternate universe. Welcome to Escaping the Echo Chamber. Candace Owens lives in an alternate universe where racism doesn't exist, where racism isn't real, where there's no such thing as anti-Black racism, and it's not that it's a figment of our imagination. The universe she exists in, it doesn't exist. It's not there. Well, that's what you would have to believe the things coming out of her mouth. It is evident to so many of us that Candace Owens is just making stuff up. In fact, it's so evident that Piers Morgan, the former British journalist, well, he is a British journalist, but he was formerly on, he had a famous tiff because of his obsession with Meghan Markle and wound up walking out on his job. He is calling out Candace Owens on her having no grip on reality. But before we talk about this incident between Piers Morgan and Candace Owens, I want to tell you a quick story. I want to tell you about Amber. Amber was a young Black girl, high school student. Amber had a friend in her high school whom she had a falling out with. They had a loud screaming match inside the school, and her friend, who was white, got suspended from school. I think for like 2 days. Amber's friend, and I have to use friend very loosely, apparently was upset about this and decided that instead of just no longer being friends with Amber or no longer dealing with Amber, he was going to get together with some other friends of his, and this group of white students decides that they're going to call Amber and harass her. But they're not just going to harass her. They're going to threaten her. They are actually going to terrorize Amber. Because what this white student and his friends do is they get on the phone and they call Amber. And through a series of phone calls, they say some of the vilest and most violent stuff they could to just completely shake her to her core. They're calling her a N-word, a dirty N-word. They're talking about tarring and feathering her. They make a lot of vile statements. They say to her that they're going to kill her. They're going to burn down her house. In fact, the statement is, "I'm going to burn down your house, you." They call her a whore. They tell her that she's going to get a bullet in the back of her neck. And they tell her that she is going to die. She gets these calls. She actually has recordings of these calls. The school is notified. The school says, "Oh, it happened off school grounds. There's nothing we can do." And as a result, this kid comes back to school and they continue to torment her. They continue to harass her. They continue to terrorize her. She winds up taking like 6 weeks away from school because she can't deal with this. And the school refuses to do anything. And so it turns out that one of these kids is the son of a prominent politician. And right now people are looking like, this is ridiculous. You've got 5 white kids terrorizing this young Black girl, and one of them is politically connected, and the school refuses to take any action. The police are slow walking their investigation. And this is happening in the United States, where you will have people pretend that racism isn't real, racism doesn't exist. This happened in the United States. This didn't happen 50 years ago, 60 years ago. This happened in 2007. Now you may say, how is Candace Owens going to know about this story? I mean, that's one story. She may not be aware of it. And so when she's speaking about racism not existing, not being real, not being a factor, she can't be talking about this incident because she has no idea about this particular incident. And I say, no, I know Candace Owens knows about this. Do you know why I know Candace Owens knows about this? Because Amber is Candace Owens. And you say, what? And I'm not speaking metaphorically. Amber is literally Candace Owens. Candace Amber Owens. That's who this is. That's who this happened to. These events happened to Candace Amber Owens. And this is the same woman who went up on Capitol Hill and said racism isn't a factor. Racism isn't something Black people have to worry about. This woman spent 6 weeks out of school because she was being terrorized by white students. But she's going to sit there in front of Congress and tell them, racism, it's not even a thing anymore. She went on Laura Ingraham. This is the woman who said racism didn't become bad until Obama got into office. This is what she told Laura Ingraham on her television show. This is the kind of thing she regularly tells the white conservatives who hang on every word she says. This is the woman who must be living in an alternate reality. She must be a variant of the Amber who suffered these things. She must be. Either that or she's a liar. But that's what brings us to the argument with her and Piers Morgan, who is calling her out on what's clearly a complete disconnect from reality. Because how can you experience these things personally? You personally experience these things, but yet you are lying to yourself, to your audience, to the country, to the world about the existence and the prevalence of racism. And then you blame the first black president for racism existing. And I'm trying to figure out exactly what are you talking about here? Are you saying that Barack Obama caused racism against white people? Or are you saying that Barack Obama caused racism against black people? Because I'm trying to figure out and how that happened. Because if you're saying that Barack Obama caused racism against black people to worsen, let's think about that. So you're saying that the election of the first black president irritated white people to such an extent that they started hating black people. And you're blaming that black president for that happening. Okay, but maybe you're going to say, no, it's not just that he was elected. It's the things he did. Because I've heard this before. And I've heard people try to say, oh, yes, you see, remember when he criticized that cop? And I'm like, yes, he criticized the police officer who arrested a friend of his, an acquaintance of his. He knows this dude personally. Somebody who he admires and respects was falsely and wrongly arrested, and he called that police officer an idiot? Yes. It's interesting because the people who say, why do you make everything about race, made that about race. No. That was at no point did Barack Obama say anything about a white guy or white people. He criticized that cop for arresting wrongly his friend who was trying to get into his house. But yet, these same people who think that somebody else is always making things about race made that about race. And that is why they say, oh, yeah, that's caused racism. So you're saying that non-racist white people became racist because of that? Because Barack Obama criticized a white police officer? If that's what you believe, I got news for you. Those white people didn't just become racist after that incident. That was with them a little bit before that. But this is the kind of insanity, this is the kind of foolishness that is coming out of the mouths of your Candace Owens and her crew. And you'll find that it requires a complete suspension of intelligence, of logic, of awareness in order to believe these things. So I find the best way to deal with these things is say, okay, let's assume you're correct. Let's delve a little deeper. Because a lot of people will automatically dismiss her and say, oh, she's stupid. No, let her talk. Like when she was on stage at the Revolt Summit, let her speak. Because the more she speaks, the more her stupidity is made manifest. As always, don't forget to give me the thumbs up, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. But if you disagree and if you think, no, I'm telling you, she actually is a variant. She's from a different universe. The multiverse is real. Then I'm wrong, and you can feel free to give me the thumbs down and call me out on it, because I didn't realize that the multiverse was real. I'll see you next time.